board regarding items on the closed session agenda prior to the board's adjournment to closed session. Individual speakers are allowed 5 minutes in public input on each item. Shall not exceed 20 minutes. Are there any comments for closed session? Adjourn to closed session.
Okay.
Resolution. Welcome, Virginia Avenue Students Council. All right, Virginia Avenue, if you can come on up and lead us in the flag salute. And if you can bring your advisor with you. You know what, can we give them, actually, I will give them a mic so we can hear them. And they all have their VA shirts on with their names on it. That's it.
Good evening, everyone, and a special thank you to the board members for inviting us this evening. This group of students worked extremely hard to foster such a great culture at Virginia Avenue. I'd like to invite our president to lead us in the flag salute.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Fairfax Board of Education. My name is Natalie Elizabeth Kahn, and I'm the Virginia Avenue Student Body President. On behalf of the Virginia Avenue Student Body, I would like to thank you all for inviting us to lead in the flag salute at tonight's meeting. Please allow me to introduce our 2021 to 2022 Student Body Officers. Vice President, Jasmine Mendez. Treasurer, Jose Valencia. Secretary, Miriam De La Rosa. Sports Commissioner, Dominic Duran. Fire Marshal, Joel Saldana. And Principal Representative, Alessandra Garcia. Our team, along with the help of the 5th and 6th grade Viking committees, do our best to lead and assist in different areas to improve our school culture and climate, and are proud to share this quick video. So, we assist in hosting rallies. Next week, we will be having a dress-up days to spread holiday cheer. We look forward to growing even more in the new year.
And before you guys sit down, we have a little something for you. We want to take a picture to put it on the website so we can have the board join the student body council.
Closed session announcement, we have authorized the superintendent to enter.
Authorize the superintendent to enter a purchase agreement for when.
Approval of agenda for December 9, 2021. Do I have a first motion? Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Roll call, Burnett,
Aye.
Lawson, Mullen,
No.
Lawson. Aye. Tapia.
Aye.
9, 4. Public comment.
Public comment time is reserved for individuals who may wish to address the governing board regarding a matter that is not on the agenda. If you wish to address the board about an item that is on the agenda, please do so when the agenda item is called. Because issues discussed during public comment are not on the agenda, the board cannot discuss your concern. The board will not engage with speakers during public comment and will not answer any questions presented to them. We kindly ask that individuals speak in a respectful and professional manner to avoid disruption and to ensure the orderly conduct of the meeting in the manner that is consistent with the district's welcoming and professional culture. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. For a total public comment input shall not exceed 20 minutes. And seeing no public comments.
Empowerment Employee Award. Daniela.
Okay, I am pleased to announce this month's Empowering Employee Award going to Daniela Mandel. Mr. Mack speaks very highly of Mandela. She's an employee who goes above and beyond and never seeks recognition. She is a fantastic yard aide who has created a positive environment for all students. She made a gold star award for the table with the cleanest and quietest in the cafeteria. And being an principal, that is very, very important to have an orderly cafeteria. So I'm, on behalf of the board, I am proud to present this award to Daniela Mandel, and I'd like Mr. Mack to say a few words about her as well.
So I just gotta say that, Ms. Danielle, I got this golden star award. It's not that, we are the Shirley Lane Stars, but it changes to the season. So right now, there are a couple like Christmas stockings decorating them, and Halloween, there'll be a pumpkin on top of them. And so she's just absolutely amazing. She knows all the students in the whole school, knows them by name. And not only she just goes above and beyond, she's a yard aide, but you can see her, she'll be cleaning tables, picking up trash, doing anything she can before she leaves every day, even when it's time, or she's off the clock. She just asks before she goes every single day, she says, is there anything else you need me to do? And I guarantee if I asked her to do anything, she'd probably just go ahead and do it. But she's just that pretty like one of the best employees you could ask for. And that's what makes her the empowering employee for Fairfax. So congratulations.
Okay, you do have to take a picture of that.
Regular board meeting, January 13th, 2022. Board comment.
Actually, okay. So since our last board meeting, we started construction on the district office. One of the things when talking to some of the parents is when they went to the district office, we didn't have a reception area. They were actually sitting in the hallway. So in order to, make things work more efficiently and have a welcoming environment, we moved, we kind of tied the work in. We had termites that we had to get rid of. So we got rid of those termites and we redid, we moved the layout of the office around. So now we have a proper waiting area to receive parents and guests. So we're really happy about that. I also had the privilege of attending the Ag Day at Miramonte with Zephyr Lane and Shirley Lane kindergartners. That was so much fun. I didn't think I would have so much fun petting a goat, but I did. It was a very great day. I also had the opportunity to attend the CSBA conference with several of the board members. And one of the sessions that I valued the most and that I'm going to be bringing back to cabinet is to discuss how to support teachers in addressing the social emotional needs of our students. And as we're adding new staff, I think that's important that we work with those student support coordinators and our site administrators to support our teachers because our students have had sort of a rough time with distance learning and coming back, and we want to be helpful there. I also had the opportunity to read Pete the Cat Saves Christmas at Shirley Lane, and that was so much fun. I forgot how much fun it is to be in a kindergarten class. One of my big tenets that I believe that all students should have the love of reading, and to support that, On behalf of the Board of Trustees and staff, we will be delivering a book to every student to support them reading over Christmas break. So every student in the district, we had their teachers at their grade levels pick out a book for them, and they'll be receiving that prior to winter break. And generally this year, we host a Christmas party, but because of COVID restrictions, we were out of a budget of caution, we're not going to be doing that. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be hosting a lunch for every school site. So every employee will receive a small token of appreciation, as well as a Jake's Tex-Mex lunch served by the district staff. And you'll be receiving more information about that, and that'll be next week. And the most important part of this meeting, I had the privilege of giving out the monthly attendance. This is more important than anything, right? And for this month, it goes to Shirley Lane again at 93.8.
They got up before they even announced it. So humble.
Board report. Presentation.
I would like to hear from the board that went to the CSBA conference. I would like to hear a report back on what you all attended, what you learned, what you did out there. That would be great.
Yo después le puedo dar un resumen de lo que hice, pero en este momento solamente decirles a todos, en esa asamblea fue muy importante, sobre todo la convivencia con otros miembros de las diferentes escuelas del estado.
So we were able to meet with other board members of other schools throughout the state.
Es bueno aprender de todos.
It's good to learn from everyone.
Dice el dicho, nadie es tan pobre que no pueda dar, ni nadie es tan rico que no pueda recibir.
So nobody is smart enough to not give, and no one's rich enough to not receive.
Y yo lo digo, nadie es tan inteligente que no pueda recibir, ni nadie es tan
And no one
torpe,
is smart enough to not be able to learn.
y nadie es tan torpe que no pueda dar. Es decir, todos podemos dar y todos podemos
So
recibir.
we can all give and we can also receive.
Entonces, las experiencias de las demás personas fue muy interesante, pero sobre todo los temas.
So the experiences from others was, very interesting, such as the topics.
Solamente quiero decir una cosa, no alargarme nada, ¿no? El doctor Víctor Ríos, en su experiencia, él dijo,
I just want to say, Dr. Victor Rios said,
solamente necesitaba un impulso para hacer lo que soy. Y
I just need this impulse to do what I do.
yo reflexioné, es cierto, yo necesitaba y necesito más, claro, soy consciente que necesito más preparación, pero esto
So I'm reflecting and I am aware that I need more preparation.
esto me va a ayudar a mí para dar
This is
un poco
going
más
to help
a la
me so I
comunidad.
can give more to the community.
Gracias, señor Tapia, por eso. Gracias por el reporte. Any other board members have anything else to report? Ms. Rios, Mr. Mullin?
I'll go ahead and report. I think last time I took maybe like 30 minutes and brought back a whole bunch of stuff from the class we went in San Diego. One of the workshops I went to was diversity hiring. It's really important to have diversity in your district. So they talked about, having that diversity hiring. They also talked about districts needing to make the decision for vaccine and mask mandates. So they want our district to look at our policy and figure out what we're going to do as it relates to vaccine and mask mandates. So I know that we haven't looked at that yet, but that is something that they are asking that we look at. There was another one where they talked about the Proud Academy, which helps minority students excel. BCSD put on that Proud Academy, and they have invited us, Dr. Fullenreiter, to one of their academies, one being Fremont Elementary. That's one that I attended. They have the Proud Academy there. They also talked about starting small and then going big. So not starting a big program and then have a huge failure. Start small, maybe at one site, use that program to see how it excels and then move forward. They say don't start with a Cadillac plan that's going to go with the next recession. So any plans that we add, make sure that we're not using one-time funding for programs unless it's one-time programs. They talked about CAFERA curriculum, looking into that. Also, they talked about current legal issues facing districts. And one of the ones that I found interesting that the law firms talked about was board bylaws. Board bylaws are our governance, and they stated that the board bylaws are carry as much weight, legal weight, as the ed code and government section codes. And they also talked about unelected judges should not make elected decisions. So those people that are elected, they have a job to do, and that is to represent their constituents. So the constituents should make sure that they keep in contact with those people that they have elected to do so. They also talked about progressive discipline should not be used for mask and vaccine mandates. So if we do get mask and vaccine mandates put in place, that we don't use progressive discipline for that. The last thing, I can go forever, but the last thing caught my attention was they talked about 3-2 votes. They said 3-2 votes do happen, and that means hard conversations have been had and compromise just didn't happen. I know that has, we have had that, but that's a statement that was made. And actually, I'm gonna keep going. They stated that all board members should be well informed of everything that's going on. Nothing should be a surprise to one and not the other. And having more than one person CC on an email creates transparency and accountability. With the Brown Act, we can't have more than one board member and or 2 board members on the same email, but it is good to have someone else CC on an email for accountability and transparency. And I think that's where I'll end with my report.
Thank you. Presentation.
Mrs. Rios, do you have anything to report? You attended, correct?
Yo dijeron casi todo. Y creo que agarraste un update, ¿no? Every Friday.
I'm sorry?
Agarraste así como un email.
I received an email from you?
Every Friday.
From you?
No.
I'm just asking if you attended, right?
Sí. Y me gustó mucho, lo sentí mucho. So.
Can you elaborate on what you attended?
Yeah, presentation for Lozano Smith.
Interesting.
If you're talking, you can take your mask off.
All right, good evening, board members, Superintendent Green, cabinet staff, members of the public, if we have students here as well. My name is Trevin Sims. I'm a partner with the law firm of Lozano Smith. And I'm here just to present an overview of our firm. We responded to your request for proposal for legal services, which I believe was provided to staff and the board. And I was asked just to do an overview of the firm, obviously not cover everything that's in those materials, and be available to answer any questions that the board may have about the firm, our services, or my experience. So I'll start with our firm, Lozano Smith, is an education law firm. It's what we do. It's how we were founded in 1988 by several former county council attorneys. Back in the history of providing services to school districts, all those services were originally provided by county council. And that changed, and county council does still provide such services to school districts, but a number of private law firms have evolved to also provide those services to school districts.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
What current districts do you represent in Bakersfield?
I presently provide services to the high school district, current high school district, Taft. I believe others in our firm provide services to other districts in Bakersfield. I think we had a couple of other districts listed in our proposal that I don't remember off the top of my head, but my services for districts in this county are primarily those two districts.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could add, I have the proposal right in front of me, which is Delano Joint Union and McKittrick Elementary School District.
Yeah, and those are not services that I provide, districts I provide services to, but my colleagues do.
Thank you.
Okay. So 80% of our clients are school districts, county offices, community colleges, and we represent probably 350 plus school districts throughout the state. We're a full service education law firm. So we provide services in special education, general student issues, labor and employment, facilities and business, charter schools, litigation. I like to say just about any area that school districts face, except tax law and except workers' compensation, which you usually have separate counsel through with your JPA. We take a very client-centered approach to the practice of law. And I think that's different than many law firms in the sense of they're internally competitive. We are not at all internally competitive. We think of all clients as firm clients. While sometimes our clients say, well, my lawyer is Trevin or my lawyer is Lou Lozano. Internally, you're the firm's client, and we're all on the same team to try and meet your needs. And it's not internal competition. And we think that allows us to provide better services to our clients more effectively. If I whittle it down, I would say the core of our service is one, being available. And by that means our job is not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because your issues don't come up. 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Oftentimes, I'll get an email or a text or a call on Saturday or Sunday for some issue we need to deal with on Monday morning. And so all my clients have my cell phone number and they know if they need me, I'm available. As well as being available, being timely in the provision of those services. It doesn't matter how correct our opinion is or our answer is, if we get it to you too late. So we need to be timely. We also need to be correct, and that's a quality issue. And we have pretty strict quality control protocols. Nothing goes out the door unless it's reviewed by a senior attorney. And finally, we have to be cost effective. Every dollar you spend on us, you're not spending on students, you're not spending on teaching and learning. And we know that's your mission, empowering students to succeed. That takes funds. And spending that money on us typically is taking dollars out of that classroom. My general background is I've been practicing law since 1993, representing school districts at Lozano Smith since 1996. Actually started in practicing law in Fresno and practiced in Fresno for about 7 years before I went back to Los Angeles. And I've provided services to school districts in just about every area of school law, except layoffs and marketing. So I have a broad range of experience. These days, most of my work is on governance issues. So providing advice to boards, superintendents and cabinet on Brown Act issues, Public Records Act issues, conflict of interest issues, superintendent search, evaluation, contract issues. I also do a lot of work in the facility business area. And I serve as either general counsel or special counsel to school districts ranging from Bakersfield all the way to the border with Mexico. And for some of the districts, I serve as special board counsel, where the board may have an issue that they want to address separate from general counsel. And different districts structure their legal services in different ways. There's a myriad of ways to do it. There are pros and cons to all those things. And our view is we structure our services tailored to your needs, but providing you with our best advice and counsel as to how to best, most efficiently provide those services and structure those services. And finally, we like to say we do this type of law because we feel passionately about it. We don't work at an education law firm for the money. We work at an education law firm because we care about education, we care about kids. And that statement was theoretical for me for many, many years before I had my kids. But it's very real for me now. And given what I do for a living, my wife does not allow me to interact with the school without her supervision, which is probably a good idea. But it's because I know and I care. And we love supporting school districts in providing opportunity for kids. So with that, I'll stop and I'm happy to address any questions you may have. Yes.
You're local. You're near Bakersfield, in Bakersfield, the Valley, LA, where are you?
I live by Magic Mountain.
Oh, you're close.
Yeah, so it's 70 minutes. Honestly, I can get here quicker in the mornings at rush hour than I can get to my office in downtown LA. Sadly.
So I'm gonna just go ahead and ask a question. I know we've already talked about this, but one of the things I believe that me and Ms. Brown spoke to you about is since you do have an office in LA, a Bakersfield presence, there isn't that, there isn't the travel fee
Yes.
that's associated with other firms.
So when the superintendent and I spoke about this, I indicated that I don't charge for travel. We have what I call a satellite office in Bakersfield, but I am resident in our Los Angeles office. I also manage our San Diego office. And I'll admit to you that I got in trouble for telling you that because my executive director told me, oh no, we charge for travel. But I told him, I'm not charging Fairfax because that's what I told the superintendent. So,
Thank you.
More questions? Thank you.
all right, thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you
evening.
for coming. Thank you.
School legal?
Thank you.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Green, and members of the public. My name is Abby Alphonse, and I am one of the counsel at School Legal Service. Legal Service for the past couple of years. And I'm here to talk about labor and employment, but I'm also joined by some of my other counsel from our office, and they will talk about their respective areas, special education and our business group. Talking a little bit about Schools Legal Service, we were founded in 1976 and have an extensive presence in the county and have represented not just a majority of the districts, but I'm 46 out of the 47 districts in the county. So we have an extensive presence in Kern County and co-locate with the Kern County Superintendent of Schools. So we just want to take a little bit of time to talk about some of the backgrounds that's represented in our request for proposal submittal, talking about our labor and employment group specifically and the services that we provide. And looking at that, what we want to focus on, and we really want to focus on the day-to-day work that we provide and what we offer in that respect. And the timeliness aspect of it is another thing we wanted to focus on, and how responsive we are in that respect. We have multiple members of our labor and employment group that are located in our office here in Bakersfield. So we have 5 labor and employment attorneys that focus exclusively on labor and employment, 1 who focuses solely on collective bargaining, and the rest generally on labor and employment. And of that, we take a deputy of the day approach. So there's always someone on call every single day of the week to be able to answer whatever labor and employment issues that come up. And so that enables us to be responsive daily, but also we individually, you do have our cell phone numbers and the ability to contact us directly. But we try to take a proactive approach so that you are able to be prepared to address issues. And we do that for providing training. So we train on the issues so that you're able to address issues as they come up and have a plan to be able to address those issues, so that you are able to develop the plan up front and to try to avoid having the problems at the end. So that's how we try to help you in that regard and help you address. If you do have a problem, meet with you to discuss what that problem is, to develop a plan to be able to have a plan of action and look at what the risk and the benefit of that plan might be. Specific services that we provide, talking about layoffs specifically, looking into next year, there's been a significant change in the law with respect to layoffs. So classified personnel are subject to the same provisions as certificated personnel going forward into the next layoff season. That's going to be a huge change. It's going to require a lot of engagement when we have our layoff process, our layoff workshops that we do. We come out, we meet with the staff in person. We have those discussions. We work through the seniority list. We work through the scenarios. That's what we've historically done, and that's what we would continue to do. We have those in-person relationships with the site administrators. That's what we do. Bargaining grievances, that's what our collective bargaining, our attorney Tim Salazar, who does that, that's what he does. He has those relationships with our local CTA representatives, our local CSCA representatives. Those are established relationships that are already in place. We also help with the misconduct complaints and reasonable accommodations and working through those processes. So that's just a little flavor of what we bring to the table with respect to our employment group specifically. I'll introduce Melissa Allen with our special education group to talk about the services that group offers.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Green, members of the public. As she just said, my name is Melissa Allen, and I've also been at the office the last couple of years. I work in the student and special education work group. So I'm going to talk about those two different things and basically what we do. We also have a deputy of the day, as we call it, that is on call for any things that come up, which happen a lot with discipline, because you have a student in your office not knowing what to do with them, and have some questions for there for you, as well as in the special education. Again, you're in the middle of an IEP meeting or dealing with something and you need immediate assistance. So for the discipline, we like to train, obviously, train in what the best practices are. We have a yearly student discipline workshop that we do that comes along with the manual and things like that. We represent districts in discipline matters, and we're having a suspension expulsion hearing and dealing with the student appropriately and making sure that their due process rights are followed, and at the same time protecting your students in the district and yourself from any possible liability exposure that might come along with that. Another thing in the area of student issues that we deal with that has changed a lot in the last year or two and is a issue at the forefront, as they say. Title IX, sexual harassment and gender identity issues. Those are a lot of things that are going on, a lot of changes right now. And we do training on that and help districts work their way through those very sensitive sometimes issues. On special education, we like to take a proactive approach, meaning that we like to be involved as soon as possible if the district sees that there might be a problem in a particular case, just knowing how to work through that. So we are available right away. We like to be involved. We like to be involved in going through the assessments. We can look at those assessments with your providers and with your IEP team so that we all know that we're on the right track. Being proactive also means going to the IEP meetings if they're needed. Come on, who's in person and be there. A lot of them are on Zoom right now, so we're doing a lot of Zoom IEP meetings, but we are happy to be there in person, of course. And so those are some of those just personal things that we like to do to get involved early. And being involved early, sometimes we need to be an outside person because the person working with the family, tensions are high, and sometimes we can come in and help everybody kind of settle down and see what's right for the child, because everybody wants the child gets what they needed. And so if we can't take that proactive approach, if that doesn't work and you end up in a due process hearing or some complaint filed, either by due process with the Department of Education or OCR or whatever it might be, we're then there, of course, to help you and assist you in those, and hopefully have, when we're trying to prevent that from happening, prepare you to defend yourself. And so that is the services that we have in the student and special education matters. Do you have any questions about those areas? Thank you for your time. The next is going to be Candace Neal from our business group.
Good evening to the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Virginia Green, district staff, and to the members of the public, and to those students who made a wonderful presentation. My name is Candace Neal, and I'm Senior Associate Counsel in the Business and Construction Group at Schools Legal Service. I just wanted to take a quick second to talk about generally what we do in business, and then I wanted to focus on school site acquisition, which on the report out from closed session, I learned that you have authority now to pursue a piece of property. Let's get started. So in business and construction, we do annual trainings on non-construction and construction bidding. And so procuring the services and all the goods and things that you need in construction, That's a big part of the business of the district. And we do annual trainings on those things. We also help you on the back end. Once you've hired all those folks, if you have issues, we help you resolve construction disputes. And for a number of years, our business attorneys actually litigated on behalf of our districts in construction disputes. We do workshops also on other business topics, such as the California Public Records Act, which I'm sure you all know about. A lot of those requests, we work with you on those and we do workshops on that. Surplus personal property and student data privacy, which is a really big thing right now in the pandemic where we were, everything was online. We had to navigate that. We helped our districts navigate that. We also have form contracts. They're available on our website, but if you don't see one on the website that you need, you contact me or my colleagues, and we provide those contracts for you for general business and also for construction-related services. We do real property negotiations. I actually have the pleasure of working with Jonathan Medina on selling that little piece of land behind Shirley Lane School for you guys. So I have experience with your district in real estate. And I have been a real estate attorney for several years. I came from San Francisco back home to Bakersfield 2 years ago and started working with, so real estate is my specialty. And general contract review and negotiation. So if you're working with a form that's not our form for invoices or anything that you receive, we review that for you and explain it to you and help you negotiate it so that the district is getting the best deal and reaching its objective within the confines of the law. So we do that too for you in business and construction. All right, so on to the pinpointed topic that I wanted to talk about with you tonight, which is school site acquisition. So many of you, if you've been through the process, you may know that it's a very heavily regulated and time-consuming and complex process to acquire a new school site. That means that you're gonna need professionals, you're gonna need lawyers and consultants, and probably even a project manager if you don't have somebody on your staff who can serve in that role and kind of quarterback the whole process for you. We like to describe the process for school sites in a 5-track kind of way. All of these tracks, some things happen at the same time, but everything has to happen before you complete. So you have your ordinary due diligence investigation requirements. That's just the investigation steps that you follow when you're just acquiring any piece of real property. That's feasibility, title report, survey, those sort of things. For schools, you have to determine if you need to widen the streets or if cities put up stoplights or put in sidewalks. And all of that thing has to be calculated into your plan and your feasibility plan. Then you have the California Department of Education requirements. And these requirements are overseen by the School Facilities and Planning Division. And each new and expanded public school site must be evaluated according to specific standards. And for example, soil quality, right? You can't be building a school on contaminated soil or on soil that can liquefy. So all of these things go into the equation when you're evaluating a new school site. Also, there are requirements from the Department of Toxic Substances Control, and they require environmental study. And phase 1 study basically tells you, what has the property been used for in the past and currently, and also properties around it, because as you know, things spread and they can cross property lines. Contamination does not respect property lines. So your neighbor up the way could have contaminated the soil on your site. So you do the phase 1 study, if it's all clear, you get clearance. If it's not, then you have to do a phase 2 study and there might be some cleanup required. That's all part of the consideration when you're looking to acquire. Next track is secret. In a public school, a district, regardless of funding source, has to analyze the environmental impacts that the new school site will cause on the community. And either adopt a negative declaration or work with the consultant to determine how to mitigate the environmental impact that the new school site will have. And finally, the last track is local agency notice and coordination. So your school site has to be approved by the city planning commission. It has to be in conformance with the general plan for the city. So we work with you on that. It's a very local thing. In everything that I just described, there's so many moving parts. And you need somebody who's gonna be with you and close and available. And not only that, someone local who's dealt with people at all these agencies before and who knows construction teams that you'll be hiring and the architects and the engineers. We deal with local people for consultants most of the time and for our district. And you need somebody who has those relationships. And school legal service has those relationships. That's really key to a successful and smooth process. And so I just want to say thank you for having us tonight. It's a pleasure to be in your presence. I've been at school legal service for 1.5 years, and most of my meetings have been online. So I am so relieved to be able to be in your presence tonight. Thank you so much. I'm going to open it now for questions for any of us.
Is there any question? I would like feedback from the board regarding school legal services. As you know, we are part of the JPA, and I will be having a recommendation as we move further along in the agenda, but I would like specific feedback if I could regarding schools legal.
Can you tell me when you guys entered the JPA with Fairfax? Because looking at the JPA, I know it goes back to maybe 3 or 4 superintendents, and the timeline is not quite there. So I just want to kind of know when you guys actually started representing Fairfax when we entered into that JPA.
Actually, I believe Fairfax was an original part of the JPA, which I want to say goes back late 70s. Actually, well, it's probably older than most of us sitting here.
Yeah, 1976.
And do you have that answer?
I have the answer of that Fairfax goes back to the origins of the JPA, which does date back to 1976 is when the JPA was founded. The specifics of the current contractual situation of who signed which superintendent signed the current extension of the JPA, what date is on that contract? Do I have that with me now? No. If that's information that the board or the superintendent would like for us to provide, we can certainly provide that information. But it has been an ongoing and continuous relationship since the relationship first was established.
So when we when we acquire and get a new superintendent, an extension to that JPA is normally signed by the new superintendent?
It's not dictated by a change in your superintendent. It's dictated by the duration of that specific contract. So doesn't change by your superintendent. It is impacted by if the time period of that contract was 3 years, then you have a different superintendent. At the expiration of that 3 years, you'd see a different superintendent signature on that contract. But if you have the same superintendent for the first 3 years and the same superintendent second 3 years, you'd see the same superintendent signature. But it doesn't change the validity of the contract or have any impact on the contract if you had a different superintendent in place or in role in that current role based off of the JPA signature on the JPA.
So when schools decide that they're going to exit a JPA, which would it would allow other districts to know whether or not you guys are going to increase or decrease the price. When do you guys let school districts know whether or not other schools have exited the JPA and the cost?
The cost, it's specifically governed by the terms of the JPA. So the provisions for exiting the JPA are set forth within the JPA, and the notification provisions regarding when there are changes in the fee structure, the notification provisions are outlined within the JPA as well.
Isn't there a district membership or board that governs your organization?
That is correct. It is a JPA that's run by member districts. And so the rate changes if there are any changes in the rate schedule. So superintendents of various member districts are who make up the board of our schools legal service. So superintendents are who makes up the
Consortium.
are who make up our board of directors. So like you are the board of Fairfax School District. Superintendents at various schools throughout the county are who make up our board and who vote on our rate increase if there are rate increases. And if there is a request to exit or a notification that a district is going to exit the JPA, that's who it comes before. So it's not just a manager of the school's legal service. It's a run like to that extent, like a school board is. It's run with a board of directors.
And if I may add, Superintendent Green sits on the board of schools legal services.
I was going to let you.
One thing, and if there was a policy that any of our member districts had an issue with, they would take that to the board, and that's the vehicle for making a change. So for instance, if there's an issue with the exit policy that a district has, you take that to the board, it becomes an agenda item, right? And they have to decide on that as well. So it kind of operates the same way. That's what makes us different from a regular law firm. We're public and we're driven by the superintendents in our JPA. So that's special. And so basically, it also encourages Superintendent Green and other superintendents in the district to work together to make the policies better, or in a way, over time things change. So if there's a change that needs to happen, our local superintendents are the ones that are really driving that process. Is there any more questions?
I'm sorry, one last question. So, you come from the business part of it. You guys are also who we would come to for contracts when we have new superintendents.
No, that goes to our leader, our general counsel. He handles that in our employee group.
Oh.
Yeah, but anything that the superintendent might sign, to procure items or services or things like that, that would be.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Internship. Motion. So I have a second.
I second.
Roll call. Cornell,
Aye.
Nolan,
Aye.
Watson, Fabia,
Aye.
Aye. Internship permit, Karina, Espinosa, Garcia. Do I have a first motion?
I move that we put numbers 13 and 14 together and do.
I second that.
Is that okay? Can we do that? Number 13 and 14, Garcia and Mendez. They have to be separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I second for Karina Espinoza Garcia, provisional internship permit.
Roll call, Cornell,
Aye.
Nolan,
I have a question, I'm sorry, for the superintendent. Can you just explain what actually a provisional internship permit is? And why we're giving these individuals these permits?
Okay, so an provisional intern permit is, we give this to a candidate to teach for us. They do not have a full credential yet, but they are in the process. They have all, they have a bachelor's degree, and they are going to be working towards getting their credential. And as I stated, in particular, Ms. Garcia is one of our UCSB, she's in the internship program, and so she's been working with us. She's familiar with our sites, and, you know, we know that by actually seeing her work, she's a good fit for our district, and, you know, we highly recommend that the board approve this permit. So they, you know, this candidate will be working towards getting a credential.
So I have sorry, last question. I know that we have contracts with like Point Loma and other universities. So do we have to offer contracts to those students in those universities versus outside universities, people that are on universities that are not in contract with us?
No, we hire contracts to those individuals that the superintendent and her staff feel best fit the needs of our district.
Okay, thank you.
If there aren't any more questions, I second that again.
So, Cornell, roll call.
That's an aye for me.
Mullen,
All right.
Lawson, Tapia,
Aye.
Ruben, aye. Provisional internship permit, Jamie.
I make a motion for that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Cornell,
Aye.
Mullen,
All right.
Lawson, Tapia,
Aye.
Ruben, aye. Action item. Request to approve the MOU.
So we are requesting that you approve a stipend of $150 a month for additional duties for one of our MOT employees to help with inventory at the warehouse. And we recommend that you approve as presented.
Do I have a first motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Cornell,
Aye.
Mullen,
All right.
Lawson, Tapia,
Aye.
Ruben, aye. Request to approve the MOU with ESEA and FSC.
So as you know, there's a shortage of speech therapists in the state of California and across the country. So we've contracted to have virtual services, and we need an instructional aide to sit with the students as they receive their services for speech. And we request that you approve the MOU as presented.
Do I have a first motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Cornell,
Aye.
Mullen,
All right.
Lawson,
Aye.
Tapia,
Aye.
Ruben, aye. Request to approve contract between Lozano Smith Attorney at Law. FSC, Ms. Green.
So as I stated earlier during the school's legal presentation, we are part of the JPA, and I do sit on the board. I have worked with schools legal for many years and have been very impressed with the service that we get from them. Being part of the JPA allows us to have access to several attorneys at a very minimal cost, as well as having access to piggyback off of what other districts have done. Lozano Smith is the other candidate that responded to the RFP. And given the issues that we have and the training that we need regarding the report that we received from the grand jury, it is the superintendent's recommendation that we remain in the JPA and retain schools legal for employment, special ed, and student discipline, as well as construction and other day-to-day items, and that we approve the contract for Lozano Smith for board issues only and board training. So we recommend that you present or approve the contract for Lozano Smith.
Do I have a first motion? I shall move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Cornell,
Aye.
Mullen,
Aye.
Lawson. Tapia. Denise, aye. Request to approve the job description for wellness technician. Ms. Brown?
Good evening. As we know, Nurse Kelly will be leaving the district at the end of the month. So we've been on the search for a district nurse to help our already in place district nurse, because we've had 2 district nurses in the past. Just like many districts throughout the state of California, there has been a shortage of district fully certified district nurses. The wellness technician would allow us to hire a registered nurse who's working towards her degree in school nursing. So this would be a registered nurse that would support our district nurse while she is working towards her degree in school nursing. So this is a new job description for us, and we're calling it a wellness technician. And like I said before, it is intended for a district nurse who has coursework and is working towards her degree in school nursing. Is there any questions about the job description or?
So with the wellness technician, does that mean that we're not going to fill that position with a registered nurse who has finished the coursework?
We have one district nurse right now who has the degree in school nursing. We have 2 district nurses right now. One of them is retiring. So this would allow, there is just a shortage of district nurses throughout the state. So finding a fully credentialed district nurse is very difficult. So this would allow us to hire a registered nurse, where most of them are, that is working towards her degree in school nursing.
I know that some districts have like health aides that help with the nursing staff. Is that something?
We have 3 LVNs right now currently in the district that are helping support, and we also have some health aides that we have hired as additional support through the COVID pandemic, and they are still here helping with the on-site testing and helping when we have our isolation room. So we have healthcare aides in place as well. So this is just really, there is a lot of nursing needs throughout the district. And so we definitely need 2 district nurses between COVID tracking and our special ed testing, and also the state mandated health assessments that we do. And it's definitely a 2-man job. And so I think the best route for us to get there is to hire a very well qualified RN that is in school and working towards that degree in nursing.
I know that we have in the past had a nurse practitioner hired in our district. Do we look like we're gonna go back to having someone in that capacity?
When we had the nurse practitioner, she was hired as a district nurse, and then she just got her nurse practitioning license. And so that was a win at the time, but it was just a stroke of luck. So
Okay.
I would recommend the job description be approved. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the wellness technician as presented.
Do I have a second motion? Roll call, Cornell,
Aye.
Mullen,
Aye.
Lawson. Tapia.
Aye.
Denise, aye. Request to approve resolution 2021-05 developer. B. Brent?
The resolution is to approve. Excuse me. Wow, that's loud. The resolution is to approve the annual and 5-year accounting of development fees for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. The Fund 25 Capital Facilities Fund, other known as the Developer Fee Fund, it indicates only the portion of unexpected funds remaining at the end of the fiscal year. These funds are used for financing construction or reconstruction necessary for overcrowding caused by new development. And I recommend a approval as presented.
What's the difference between if there was number 1, number 2, and then number 3?
I'm glad you asked that question.
No, you aren't.
I get to teach. You got level one fees, you got level two fees. Level one fees are the old fees before level two came in 19.
Something.
Yeah, it came in 1998. So level one, because we've got level two, that supersedes level one. But level two is only residential, not commercial. Level one is residential and commercial.
And then what's number 3?
Number three will never happen. You know, the closest we came was back, I think, in 2009, when the real estate market, the bottom fell out. And level three was gonna kick in, and the developers in the state screamed and raised them.
It's almost the same for both of them, except number
Level
1.
three is, it's about double of level two, I think is what it is. It'll never happen. I'm gonna tell you, they will not let it happen.
$8 and something.
Yeah, they will. Not. I mean, you got to approve it. It's part of the study and so on when it comes to you. But I just never see that happen. I'm a realist. Good
Thank
question.
Do I have a first? Thank you. Do I have a first motion? Second? Okay, second, okay. Roll call, Cornell? Hi. Mullen?
Aye.
Lawson? Aye. Tapia?
Aye.
Bernice and I. Request to approve resolution 2021-06, resolution for impulse. Frankie? Frankie?
Close enough. Just don't call me late for dinner. Okay. The Fairfax School District is requesting the release of excess incomes from local tax revenues to the district's general fund to meet and articulate with all fiscal needs in the district. It's a lot. Can I simplify? Can I play teacher again? A plus B always equals C. So you got state aid plus property taxes equals what you get from the state, you know, and what you get per student total income. So your property taxes can go up and down sometimes, you know, depending on the economy. So state aid and property taxes always equal your what you get per pupil. So sometimes they have lawsuits against the property taxes. So if you don't prevail in those lawsuits, that comes out of your general fund. So what we do is we set aside that money in the county impound fund. They tell us how many lawsuits we got coming up, what they estimate our liability to be. We either put the money in or because it's dropped, we take it back. And that's the issue, we take it back. But our property taxes, it goes up, state aid goes down proportionally. Just like this. Everything stays equal. See? Did I explain it good? Okay, good. I just want to make sure. If you don't understand, let me know. Yeah, so always, yeah.
So, if there's no more questions, so I have a first motion? No. First, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Cornell?
Aye.
Mullen?
Aye.
Lawson? Aye. Tapia?
Aye.
Bernice and I. Request to approve first interim budget. Right.
Excuse me. Do you all have the handout that? So why don't we skip the front page, because that's just a pretty picture. And we'll get down to the meat and potatoes. What's the purpose of this report? Because, you know, you get a first interim, a second interim, and then an unaudited actual, and you got to do a budget for the next year. It's a lot going on. So the first two mid-year financial reports, one's the first interim, the other's the second. It's used to assess the financial health of the district. It contains revenue and expenditure data from July 1st, beginning of the fiscal year, through October 31st. So that's the first 4 months. And then it looks at both the current year and 2 subsequent years. And they want you to see, you know, are you going to be able to have a positive certification in the following 2 years. The board will need to take action, just only on the first interim, because we'll bring the second interim to you in March. Now, this is nice. I like this, the budget reporting cycle right here. And so that just shows you the reds where we are today. January, we get the governor's proposed budget for next year. And we do the interim financial report for this year. Preliminary LCAP budget in April, May revised for the governor's budget for next year in May. And then in June for next year, we adopt the LCAP and the budget. And it goes through July and starts all over. And so you got like 3 years going on at once. You got last year, this year, and proposed next year. And so what's changed in the July 1 budget adoption? Prior year books are now closed, you know, the district's financial books. Beginning balances have been finalized. We now have actual ADA enrollment data, revised guidance and allocations from various funds and grants received, and negotiations have concluded. The next slide is the unrestricted revenue. It shows the LCFF sources, federal revenue, other state revenue, and this is just for unrestricted funds now, and local revenue. Unrestricted revenue is budgeted to increase by 1.125 million. And LCFF revenue is up by 1,055,000 due to an adjustment in concentration in the grant formula. Other state revenues up by 15,000 due to revised lottery, mandated cost grant projections, and other local revenues increased by 55,000 due to the STRS excess contributions. The next item is the unrestricted expenditures. Salaries and benefits have increased due to the additional concentration grant funds. Coordinator, student support, class size reductions. The net reduction to books and services, capital outlay and other budgets is 175,000. It's a good looking budget, guys, I'm telling you. Okay, transfers out. Fund 14, deferred maintenance, $500,000. This is big. This gives you the ability to repair what you have and keep it in running order. 450,000 to fund 40 for reserve for capital outlay. And this is big because this allows you to do the small projects you need in the district, especially when it's growing like you are. The next page is unrestricted ending fund balance. And so projecting an increase of 54,500 to unrestricted ending fund balance. Restricted ending fund balance now projected to end 6.100, well, I'll just say 6.1 million. Unrestricted reserve percentage, 13.8%. That's good.
Yeah, I have logged in.
And you don't want to drop below that, I'm telling you. You need to plan on a 10% reserve cap trigger. And that's something to do with the state. So they have their rules and they have to deal with that. County superintendent of schools will review the first interim. Second interim will be presented in March. This is looking ahead, of course. No cash flow issues to report this time. As you know, you don't have cash, you don't have operations. Recommended board action, recommended the approval of the 21-22 first interim report. Do you all have any questions? If I can't answer, I'll find out.
I do have a question. So if we happen to go out to sell bonds, what would that be in the second interim report? If we go-
No, if you go out to sell bonds, you're talking about GEO bonds?
Yes.
You can't sell GEO bonds.
Okay.
You don't have the bonding capacity.
I know that we passed a bond measure, how many years ago? was
You
that?
can pass a bond measure and you can have the community approve it and so on, but you have to have bonding capacity to issue bonds off that bond measure.
Okay.
And this is a shame that you guys can't do that, but that's one of the things I looked at. You're just a little over 5 million and that's not gonna do much for you. Build it. Schools usually cost about $35–40 million by the time you build, probably more, who knows.
Okay, Superintendent Green, I know that we had conversations and we talked about our district going out to sell bonds. So am I understanding correctly that now we will not be going out to sell bonds?
So actually, Mr. Medina, Ms. Brown and I spoke with our financial consultant. We will be selling a small amount of bond. It is very small, about 5 million. And as Mr. Franny said, we do need about 35 million or so to build a school. But we will only be going out for that once we've applied for hardship. Because of our financial situation, we can't apply for a hardship grant with the state. And once that has been received, then we will go out. Okay, so we're probably looking at 18 months or so or longer before we're down that road.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any more questions? Do I have a first motion? Do I have a first motion?
I'm sorry, I have to ask this question because I know that we got the ESSER funding. So where is that included in the whole funding area? Under what codes would we see that? The ESSER funding when we're using it or where it's located?
Well, ESSER is meant to be used in conjunction with LCAP. So when you look at how we're using it, you just need to look to our LCAP and they dovetail into those goals. The 3 goals that we have in our LCAP, that's kind of where you'll see it. We will also be giving a presentation to the board in February because we'll have a better handle. We just actually received our letter this morning from the county approving our ESSER plan. So those funds really haven't been expended for yet. So in February, you will see a presentation from Ms. Brown regarding where those funds have been expended.
Thank you.
Do I have a first motion?
First motion.
Do I have a second? Roll call, Cornell? Aye. Mullen?
Aye.
Lawson? Tapia?
Aye.
Hermes and I. Okay, so with that, we just approved 2 brand new administrators. Actually, I shouldn't say brand new to the district. We have just approved Mr. Mack as our Director of Fiscal Services.
I know, they haven't been hired yet.
And brand new to the Fairfax family, we just approved David Hernandez as the new VP of Fairfax Junior High. So if you could please come up.
This- I don't think you guys voted consent. I think that was for the budget.
Ms. Brown has
I
clarification.
think we just voted for the budget just now. I don't think we've done consent yet. Did they were waving me over there. No. Don't go too far. I think it's because we asked that question, so we went back to it.
Section, do I have a first motion?
I make that first motion for the entire section.
Yes.
Yes, I'll make that first
Do I
motion.
have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
I have a question, I'm sorry. I noticed that on this, we have a request to approve the agreement between basketball clinic and FSD. Can you speak to that, Ms. Green, for me?
Actually, I'm gonna let Ms. Brown speak to that. She's the one who facilitated that agreement.
That is an agreement that Virginia Avenue actually submitted. They're going to provide some like an intramural on-site during the day basketball clinic. And so that's what that agreement is for.
Okay, I noticed in previous years, we've had intramural type clinics at the junior high and other schools as well. So is there a reason we're just, is that for all the schools or is that just for one school?
Right now, Virginia Avenue is the one that has it scheduled. They're the ones that have it scheduled right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And my last question is the request to approve the school safety plan. Normally we approve those in February.
Yeah, they just have to be approved once a year before, prior to March, correct?
Okay, once a year prior to March, and they're being brought to us early. I know we've had a couple of incidents regarding guns. So is there any particular plan in place now that will help facilitate guns in schools? Is there an actual plan that has been added since now we're submitting 2 months early or a year before March? I know the whole gun thing has been an issue. So has there been anything added specifically for guns into the safety plan?
So I believe, and I'm gonna go ahead and have Mr. Clark come up. He facilitates those. That's his area of responsibility. The best to speak to.
Thank you.
So our districts that do with, we've all gone through the standard response protocol training and there's active shooter component to that. So we've been sending out notifications to our, there's a poster of it right over there with the different symbols that law enforcement recognizes. In fact, it was developed with current county superintendent of schools and the law, all the fire and safety components that we have to have for our safety plan. And this came about because we used to have try to schedule meetings with the sheriff department or someone to have them sign it off, and they were having 47 school districts. So they said, we're going to develop this one type of protocol, which is the standard response protocol, and that is in all of our safety plans. And it specifically addresses, and there are active shooter scenarios in there throughout the training.
And to talk to the why it's earlier this year, that timing was just because, you know, the safety plans are looked at earlier in the year, because in our safety plans, that's when we make sure that all the duties are assigned for sweep teams if there's a natural disaster. So we identify all those individuals earlier in the year. We want to make sure those edits are done at the beginning of the year and continuous. So it just made sense if we get that done earlier in the year and we get those things addressed, let's bring it to the board early since the plan has been looked at and reviewed and updated. So it was really just, and we had conversations before, but making sure those were done earlier. So that's why I reacted about it earlier.
So I know that me and you had conversations before about the plans, about the signing off of the plans from the different fire department, law enforcement. So is that still a requirement?
And just like Mr. Clark was sharing, how that component is met is in the development of the plan and the safety response protocols. Those were done in collaboration with all of those first responding departments, the county offices, the police departments, the fire stations. So that's where that component and that compliance is met.
I just want to be clear. Thank
Yes,
you.
no.
And to add, trustee Mullins, we did district-wide drill in October. So it's always a good time to review protocols after that district-wide drill, just to make sure that they're up to date, if we missed anything. And so, you know, it was a decision by the cabinet to bring it forth sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
If there's no more questions, do I have a first motion? Yeah, I was the first motion to. Oh, yeah, roll call.
The consent section, right?
Yes, that's for the entire consent section. Cornell? Aye. Mullen?
Aye.
Lawson? Aye. Tapia?
Aye.
Ferguson, aye.
See, now I get to get to the good part. Your mask off, because we're gonna send both your pictures separately. So here's a little one for the third part.
Thank you. Where do you want to take I'll be right.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you.
Yes. All right, thank you. Yeah, if you're okay with
We
it.
do.
I'm okay.
okay with it.
Congratulations.
Mr. Matt, there was a joke, and I just want to share it with you because it was funny and it really sold you. And that joke was, you really hit it out the park. They said not only did you hit it out the park, but they're still looking for the ball. So congratulations.
Number 17, communications, form. The board on future item.
Yes, so this is the time of the board meeting that if a board member wants something put on the agenda, that we go ahead and let us know. I know trustee Tapia, trustee Cornell, and trustee Lawson had agenda items that we will be looking at placing in on a future, on the 16th.
Superintendent, closing remarks.
So I'd like to thank everyone. It's been, Ms. Brown reminded me, this is my first semester here, and it has been a e-ticket ride. If you're old enough to remember Disneyland with the tickets, it's been an e-ticket ride. I've enjoyed my time here thus far, and I look forward to promoting things such as literacy. And we're very, very happy that we're able to provide a book for all of our students. And I look forward to being out to school sites and serving our staff and showing our appreciation for all of their hard work. And I wish everyone a very happy holiday.
Adjourn the meeting. Do I have a first motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Cornell? Aye. Mullen?
Aye.
Lawson? Tapia?
Aye.
Hermes and I. Thank you for coming to the meeting.
Yeah.